Welcome to Repurposing Junk. I'm Mrs. Munson and this is Lily. And this is our subject of junk for today. We're going to tell the story of this polar bear. First off, this polar bear, it's not old. As a matter of fact, the more I look at this polar bear, the more I see it's plastic, but that's okay. Junk doesn't have to be old. I kind of work with junk. Usually that's old, but we're going to make this polar bear look old by using some chalk paint, which is really cool stuff. I'm anxious to show you about chalk paint. We'll use some waxes that are really cool. They'll make it look old. We'll also use some of my old books that are indeed old, and we'll turn it into a really cool lamp. So not to worry, it's going to be a cool piece when we're done with it. So once again, we're going to tell a story of a piece of junk, and it qualifies as junk. It costs 99 cents and I bought it used. So in my mind, that's junk. A piece of junk from its beginning to its end, and its end will be really cool. So stay with us for the story of this odd little polar bear. Hey Lily. They're out of carts, so Lily's going rogue. And it's Green Day at Goodwill, and I found this guy who is green. He's a bear, and I'm not sure about him. He's got potential. I think he's going home with me for 99 cents. What do you think, Lily? Think the green bear? I'm going to drill into my little friend's back here. I'm going to start with a smaller drill bit and then increase it to a bigger one. I want to drill straight through so I can get a lamp rod through, but we'll go with a small drill bit just to get a pilot hole drilled, and here we go. Cool, I'm through. All right, so the lamp rod's gonna go right through there, and now we'll drill the holes in the books. We'll be using books at the base of this lamp, and this is a very cool old book from my collection, The Daughter of the Land, and I've marked where I'm going to drill. I want to drill all the way through, and so what you really want to be careful of when you drill a book is it's paper, and paper gets really hot. And first time I drilled a book, I almost burnt my husband's shop down. He's been kind enough to just let me go ahead and put the drill press in my shop. But you got to watch out because it gets really hot. Also, when you drill a book, you want to really clamp down the pages so that they don't shift around on you. So let's go ahead and we'll get started on drilling this book. Yep. All the way through. Love it when we get all the way through. Okay, now we'll do the bottom book, but on that one we won't be going all the way through. Here I am stacking up my lamps, so my book that I've gotten all the way through, I'm going to stack it on this, and this will be the base of my lamp. My polar bear, which we've drilled through. There's 2 holes on the bottom. One was already there, one I drilled. I don't know which is what. Let's see. Okay, and just have to decide where I'm going to put this so I can mark it. I drilled a 3/8 inch hole so I can really twist that down there, so I'm not going to be able to mark it exact yet, or push that through exactly yet, but I can use that to mark. So I think I like it with just a little overhang. I want to see some of this decoration, a little overhang. I think that's it. That doesn't work. Let's try this. Yep, that's better. Okay, mark that hole. I'm also going to mark right here, because that's where the hole is going to be for the cord. Right, so now you're getting sort of an idea what this lamp is going to look like. This is not the lamp rod we're going to use. I just am using it as a marker for right now. Although it could work. Might be the right size when all is said and done. We'll see. The next trick is to try and get a hole lined up on the bottom of the book with this hole that you drilled. So this is where the cord will come out. Now if you miss this hole, it's fine. You can always cut it so that it'll meet and it won't show. But if you hit it, it's kind of cool. It'll save you a little work and you feel like winner. So we'll give it a try. Well, I didn't hit it because my drill bit wasn't long enough, but I think I was pretty close. So I won't have much cutting to do. Maybe I'll have a little look. Yeah. Oh, look, I did hit it. So I have a little cutting out to do. Oh, I'm so excited. I have a little cutting out to do, but I did hit it. So I'll be able to put my lamp cord in there, and oh, that's pretty cool. So this is a really neat old book, and I know I'm an evil person for cutting into it, but it was just sitting, languishing in somebody's closet, and now it gets to sit out, and I know, I still feel bad about it, but I've used this whole set of encyclopedias, and it really is a cool book. So, am I evil or not? I don't know, but now they have a new life. Now we're going to take the task of turning this brash silver bear into something that looks old. So for that, we're going to use chalk paint. We're using commercially prepared chalk paint. I've actually made my own before, and you just take some flat water-based paint and put plaster of Paris in it, and it's brilliant stuff. It sticks to everything. You don't have to primer anything. You just put some chalk paint on, and it works. I really love chalk paint. You can make anything turn into a different color without really a lot of fuss. So I'm really a fan. I'm not really sure this is the color I wanted, but I'll give it a go. If it's not, I'll give it a second coat. But I'm hugely a fan of chalk paint. We're going to give it some wax over the top of this. We can use several layers of wax. We can do all kinds of things to make this look old. So we'll just keep experimenting with this to make it look like something that's been around for a while. And so off we go. Our nice little bear here has had 2 coats of chalk paint, and now it's time for the wax. And this is called barnwood wax, and that's just its color. Waxes are kind of a combination of wax and paint, so think of them almost like a stain. They'll add just a tint of color to whatever you're working on. And I plan on giving this bear several coats. I don't suspect that this is going to look fabulous after this coat. It's probably going to look like, what have you done? But that's okay. We're going to give it a coat, and if it really looks bad, we can always go over it again with some more of the chalk paint. But I say we just go for it. The real trick to the wax is to get it in the crooks and crannies, because that's the beauty of it. It'll stay there just like a stain would, and you're going to rub it off, but you can't really get it out of the crooks and crannies, and that's where you want it to stay, and that's going to give it that aged appearance. So rub it on and then sort of rub it off. And just like I thought, it's going to give it a different sort of a color. It's not a bad color, but it's kind of flat in its color, which is okay. I'm going to keep going. We'll give it several layers, but that's kind of an interesting color. So we'll make this one of its layers, but not its only layer. So we'll give it this and give it several more, and it'll look like it's been around forever. So you may be thinking to yourself, hey, isn't that a polar bear? And our polar bear is usually white. Yeah, this is what Bob Ross would call a happy accident. So I was so busy thinking about all the cool techniques I could use on this bear that I sort of forgot to make him white. So now the next coat of wax is going to be white, and we'll layer a bunch of white on here, and it will have a lot of depth to it. So that's the next thing we're going to do, is add some white wax to this bear and make it into a polar bear. Polar bear has been appropriately waxed, and I think it came out looking more like a polar bear than it did before. Now it's time to make it into a lamp. I have put a lamp rod through this book. Took a lot of doing, so I don't want to put you through that whole bit, but this lamp rod I've taken out of an old lamp, and You can see that the top part is threaded and the rod here is not, so I like that finished look. This book is going to be the base of our lamp, so we're going to go ahead and put the lamp cord through the hole that we drilled, and we'll just lay the cord through that hole and stick it up through the one we drilled through it. And the cool thing is it closes, so yay! Now we'll fish it up through this one. And I drilled these holes pretty tight so they doesn't just sink down in there as nicely as one would hope. So that's the part that's going to take a little finagling, but it can be done. Kind of have to remember how I planned this. Let's see, I think it was something like, pardon me. Something like that is what I had in mind. Yep, I like it. Okay. Assemble, disassemble, assemble, disassemble, a lot of that. All right, we got to make sure it's glued appropriately. So my friend Gorilla Glue, this is the original. And although it is nice and tight, we do want this to be glued together. So can't see, but I'm just giving it a hit of Gorilla Glue, letting it dribble down in there. You know, trick is get the right amount. We want enough, but we don't want it leaking out. So there we go. Now I also like to give it a hit with clear Gorilla Glue, and this will help around where the cord is. So, well, actually, I think we'll wait until I get this part done. So we'll hang off with the cord a bit, but I will go ahead and glue down the bear. There's two holes down here. One is the one that came with the bear. It already had a hole in it. One I drilled. The one I drilled is the one that wants to be the one we use. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna I'm gonna glue down. I'm thinking of dinner. I'm gonna glue down the cover. And we'll have them. I don't want to take the title away, but we want his. That way his feet are flopping hurt. It's the daughter of the land is the title. So I think we'll go like that a little bit. Okay. I'm going to put the glue close to the center here. That way, less likelihood of it seeping out. And also I'm going to put some down so it can kind of dribble down the hole, or dribble down by the lamp rod if it gets a chance. So here we are. The bear is now ready to be wired up. I was going to address this hole in the back, and it seems a little raw, so I was going to put some rings on the holes so that it wouldn't be just this raw hole. You probably noticed that this is kind of scuffed up. What happened when I was bending these rings that I got off of another lamp that I had demolished, and I just keep all the rings and stuff when I do that. I was bending them and I put a big old scratch in the bear's back. So I took some steel wool, pulled a piece off, and then I scuffed it, and I'll have to go back and fill in this crack here, this scratch with the paint, and then I'll go back and put some more wax on it. It'll work out fine because, you know, it's all supposed to look old and aged, and that'll just make it look more old and aged. But it's going to take more time, and would have preferred not to do that, but that's life. So before we add the light sockets, you got to take care of the rings. You can't put them on afterwards. So I'll put these rings on after I, let's see, this probably goes the other way. After I get his back all repaired, I'll probably super glue that in place, and that'll give that more of a finished look. So one more thing to take care of. Now it's time to address the lighting. And this wire is still loose because I have this really fat cord. It's tight, but it can still be adjusted. So this is right out of the package. I bought it from online. Usually when you buy them online, this is pretty tight, so be sure you loosen that up. Otherwise you'll fuss for a long time trying to get that screwed on to the lamp rod, and you'll figure out right away that it won't go on, and it's usually because you just forgot to loosen that screw. Okay, sometimes it'll twist right on, sometimes you gotta fuss with it for a while. Just want to twist it down enough that you can tighten that screw to catch the lamp rod. So usually tighten it down as far as it'll go, and screw that screw on so it's good and tight. Just want to have enough here so you have some slack. Now, if you were going to do that underwriter's knot, this is when you would tie that. By all means, look that up online if that's what you want to do. I do not love the underwriter's knot. That's why I do that trick with Gorilla Glue, which I'll show you here shortly. Okay, you're gonna now look for which side is the smooth and which is rough. So I usually feel for it more than look for it. So, yep, that's the rough side. Yep, I can feel the rough right there. Okay. there's the silvers. So nice, they have that all unscrewed for me. So the silver QRS, silver, I like to bend it the same way I'm doing the screw, so that way it twists it tighter, otherwise you're kind of undoing your work. QRST, get the whole alphabet thing. Just the nicest gentleman at our hardware store told me that. And you can remember it however you want, but that's my trick and I'm sticking to it. Okay, nice and tight. The gold, I don't have a trick. It's a lot easier when I'm looking at it. There we go, nice and tight. Okay. Now is the test. Oh, first we'll go ahead and tighten that down a little bit. Good. So as I've told you before, when you have these wires out, real easy to get zapped. And I've zapped myself lots of times. It'll be fun when the first time I've crossed one of these to see that. When you do cross the wires, you tend to blow the circuits. So I haven't done that for a long time, but when I first started doing this, I didn't really get the whole idea of the thing, and I did blow the circuit quite a bit before I figured out it made a difference. I didn't know that that was the thing. Okay. The Gorilla Glue trick, original Gorilla Glue. As we've discussed, it foams up, which is the beauty of it. So by putting it down here, it just kind of makes a lovely little cradle for this fixture here, and it holds it in place and keeps the wires where they're supposed to be. And it'll hold this right where it wants to be, so make sure you have this where you want it to be. I like to have the switch over on this side a little bit. Go ahead and put the sleeve over and just seat it down. You can mostly do it with your hands, but I like to get a tool. I prefer one of my more padded tools. I feel like a pair of pliers makes me feel good.
Okay, well, Jessica, fire up.
And I will give it a pound. I like to make sure it's tight. And just make sure it's straight, because if it's not, that's where it's going to stay because you Gorilla Glued it. Okay. In order to keep the cord in place and to keep the bottom book intact, you're going to want to put some glue into this hole. So it's pretty easy. You're simply going to tip the book over a little bit and pour some glue down there. I'm using Gorilla Glue. Oop, that's the wrong one. I prefer Gorilla Glue Clear. And this doesn't foam up like the original Gorilla Glue. It's just some clear stuff. So kind of line it up, hold the book together, and pour some glue down there. You don't want to get it too much onto the pages of the book. A little bit around the edge of the hole is okay, but you don't want to go getting it too far out. A little bit makes it sort of a nice edge, but too much, it just looks untidy. So I like to get on both sides of the cord. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.